Attention pro athletes. Want to secure your financial legacy and thrive off the field? Oakbridge Wealth Management, led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, is your dedicated financial planning ally. But don't take it from me. Take it from the Dallas Cowboys' Tyler Biadasz. He says, Chris set goals financially and has been incredibly impactful in my journey in the NFL. Experience our customized, comprehensive approach, trusted by top NFL players. Don't leave your financial success to chance. Connect with Chris on Instagram at OakbridgeWM_Anicetti. That's OakbridgeWM_ANICETE, and let Oakbridge Wealth Management guide you across the goal line.
First sheet again, big opening, pass 5, pass 10, Vermont's a man, and he goes all the way to the 15-yard line. 17 yards of the carry.
Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oakbridge Wealth Management. And hello to all of our new friends here on Valley Sports Midwest. Thank you for tuning in here as Bernie and I take over the channel for a couple weeks. So we wanted to bring in a special guest. But before we get to our special guest, Bernie, how you doing today?
Dude, every day on the podcast is a holiday. This is another running back episode, so I'm extremely thrilled. Probably one of the best players. You know, JT, I'm sorry, I got to pump you up a little bit. You might be one of the best players to ever put on the Motion W, and I am so thrilled to have you. Dude, it's so cool. I think you're actually one of the reasons Matt Perkins and I got involved in this.
Absolutely.
To start. So so thank you for unbeknownst not knowing that you did this for us.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys for taking the time out today. Bold statements, I appreciate the love. Bold statement. I mean, it's been some crazy people to put on the Motion W, but I truly appreciate that, man. That was one of the best times of my life. And once a Badger, always a Badger.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, the reason Bernie and I met is because I put a little graphic together on Instagram with my greatest backfield of the Badgers 21st century, Russ, Melvin, yourself, and Bernie. Tag Bernie, he DMs me, and it's been like 3 years now, almost 3 years and 200 episodes later. Here we are. So yes, you are part of the origin story here on Believe in Badgers, which is why it's so cool to have you here today. And obviously, I will gas you up a little bit more. For my money, the greatest running back in the history of RBU. So, and we can debate that later. Obviously, a lot of big names, but usually here on Believe in Badgers, we get into it. We want to go back, not just to Madison. We want to go back to Salem, New Jersey in this case. And we want to know a little bit about young Jonathan. Was he always just like running super fast away from everyone else? How do you sort of get what's your family life like, and how do you sort of just get involved in sports and specifically football?
Oh, you want to take it back? I like it. I like it already. So I'm the youngest of 5. I have 3 sisters and a brother. Salem, New Jersey. I actually didn't start playing football until about 7th grade. My cousin Amani, he used to come outside every day. Hey, are we going outside? Of course, yes, we're going outside. We're playing. We're having fun. And then eventually he signed up to play football. So over like a course of maybe a year. Hey, you coming outside today? No, I gotta go to football practice. No, I'm sorry, I gotta go to football. We got a game. I'm like, what is he doing? He's going every day, like every day of the week. Of course, not knowing at the time you gotta go to practice. Wait, why is he going to this football practice every single day? I asked my mom to sign up. So for the first 2 or 3 years I actually played, I really didn't know the game of football until I actually started. I guess I would say my freshman year of high school is when I really started to understand and try to learn the game. But before then, it was just I want to be out here with my cousin to have fun because he stopped coming outside to play. So obviously this must be the best thing in the world. But I was always fast. I will say that. I was always fast. And of course, in Little League, the number one thing is, hey, if he's fast, let him get a power sweep, a jet sweep around the edge, and just let him run. Like, just, you don't have to worry about any plays, any concepts, just run. So they would do that. I'd take off for 60, 80 yards, however long it was. I just didn't know how to play the game yet. But yes, definitely growing up, I've always been one of the faster guys.
So always one of the faster kids. Obviously, you ran like a sub 10 500-meter dash, which is like you would have finished and I would still be like chasing you. And I think I ran a 12.5. There's a joke. You could have got a hot dog while I was still running. So you said ninth grade is when you started to like bring it together, or you were just out there running jet sweeps and then you started to bring it together? And also talk about like school, because you were, I mean, didn't you pass up on like Harvard and Yale and all these really high education like Ivy League? So I love to hear like who instilled that into you.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of work put in. But like you mentioned, ninth grade is when I started to want to learn how to play the game. Like, hey, of course, once you get to high school, you start lifting, so you start seeing changes in your body, and then that's translating to getting better on the field. So I'm like, oh, I kind of like this workout. You see results, you get better on the field. This is kind of fun. But as we continue to progress through, obviously went to University of Wisconsin. I'm sure we'll get into that. But I just felt as though growing up, I've always enjoyed school, because that's always where your friends at, where you going every day, school. So I've always enjoyed school. I've always enjoyed learning. Of course, my parents always, instilled hard work. Make sure every day your work. You go through the school system. Guys are taking answers off of another test. It's just like, make sure you know your work, because at the end of the day, that's the stuff that you need to know. So always instilling that in me. I did have the opportunity, like you mentioned, as college came, that time to go to college approach, I did have the opportunity. I think about it now, because the one thing that Tim Murphy, coach at Harvard, one thing he said is, don't wake up and be the guy to say, I could have went to Harvard. And that was like a final pitch to try to get Jonathan Taylor in, which I still think about to this day. But one thing I always say is, I'm the guy that woke up and says, man, I went to the University of Wisconsin. And I absolutely love my decision. But it's just something that it's easy when you enjoy school. So you enjoy school, all of my friends are there, I'm learning. That's just something that I kind of always kind of had instilled in me since I was young.
So
wait, hold on. Matt Perkins, what a lob for the Harvard coach. I mean, that is really an amazing statement. I don't know how you turned it down. I wouldn't have either. Don't be the guy that wakes up to say you wish you went to Harvard.
But I will say this, and me I'm always asking questions. I'm always curious. So I went and did a lot of research. Of course, the opportunities I had to go to school. And one thing that got me with the University of Wisconsin, the day I did research on UW, I saw that it was a top 20 academic institution. So in my mind, I'm thinking I can kind of get the best of both worlds. I can get a great education. I can push myself off of the field, but then I can also compete amongst the best of the best in the nation on the field. And I thought that was it. It was a win-win. I thought you could not lose. And then, of course, taking my visit, meeting the people, not even just meeting, the guys in the locker room and talking to the coaches, meeting the people. The people were so nice. And, of course, being from the East Coast, a lot of people are getting to where they need to go on the East Coast, but, people in the Midwest are stopping. Hey, how you doing? Nice to see you. Have a good one. And it just resonated with me. It resonated with me.
Yeah, you know all about that, Bernie. These us East Coasters. So, well, speaking of this, this recruiting, I've been following recruiting way too closely for way too long. You originally committed to Rutgers, where my dad went to school, so I kind of feel like I got to steal you from my dad in some ways. But also, like, one of the things that I noticed, because I was really getting like deep into recruiting 2015, 2016, 2017 when you were being recruited, you made a massive, and I mean massive, jump from your junior to your senior season in high school. And like, you shaved half a second off your 100. You went from, honestly, who I thought a guy who was just kind of ran upright and stiff to being like one of the most natural runners in the country. What do you attribute to that growth as, a 16, 17-year-old?
For me, it's kind of, now that I think about it, sometimes you think, man, what if I would have started at an earlier date? I think it was just a combination of finally grasping, one, how to play the game, two, now getting years of having my body develop, off of the field. I was also a track guy, like you guys mentioned, so being able to run track, just becoming more of an athlete, and rather than just someone who just was kind of talented, just had speed, but being able to put it together. So I always think about, man, what if I started playing football, a little younger when my cousin started playing football? But I just think it was like the perfect storm of finally the mental aspect of training, preparing, understanding the game met with just that experience of actually playing the game. And I was just able to take it to another level, which was it was fun to do, because we knew, and I knew that I've been working towards something. I didn't know what it was. I just knew that was the process. So it was nice to see it, pay off and to tenfold, really.
So you end up going to Wisconsin, but we usually, when we get guys, our favorite things to talk about are official visits, because everyone is actually obviously very tailored to you, the individual. So what was your official like? Who was your host? And, sort of what ended up selling you on the school, Coach Christ, and everything there, besides the academics, which you've already talked about a little bit?
Oh my! Number one, my official visit, it was raining. I was like, oh my gosh! Of course, it's going to pour down rain on my official visit. But my host was actually, funny enough, AJ Taylor. AJ Taylor was my host. We were riding around on the back of his moped, and in the rain. We're in the rain. I had like a little poncho on. But the one thing that sold me is, it was supposed to be, a great night. Everyone talks about, their official visits are so fun. And to have it rain and to think, man, it's really going to be kind of a normal just visit the school, and that's that. It's not going to be like a, fun experience, how people label official visits. It was so nice to be able to meet, like I mentioned, the people, AJ Taylor, some of his friends, and they didn't have to take me out to a party. They didn't have to take me out to a bar. I just got to sit there and talk to them as if I was one of their college friends that, just came into town or something like that. So I just thought, man, I could see myself living here aside from the football, aside from everything else. Could I see myself in this community? And once I did that, it was like, this was a no-brainer. Like, I knew exactly where I needed to be. And it's funny enough, it definitely poured down rain the day of my official visit.
I can also see why they put you with
I'm
AJ
sorry,
Taylor. We had him on the show, and he's like such a fun, curious, like intellectually curious person, which I think you are as well. I mean, you're well known for how much you love astronomy. Where does that stem from? And how did you sort of like keep pursuing that as you've gotten older?
Yeah, so I think, like I said, growing up, I always loved school. I've always loved learning. And I think when I just was in like science class, just probably intrigued me the most, because there's so much we don't know. Like, people get so caught up in the day to day. Oh, I have to run this errand. Oh, we have to get on this podcast. Oh, I need to make sure I make dinner. And if you ever just look up at times and just notice everything that's around you, it's quite astounding. And there's a lot of things, we know a lot of things about the world, the universe, and there's double, maybe even triple of what we don't know. So I think science just always intrigued me, because this was an avenue for people to figure things out, find answers. So just growing up, continuing that love. Of course, my parents, I think it was going into ninth grade, they got me a telescope for my birthday, because they knew that I was into science, and then I liked astronomy. So getting that amplified it. Now I had direct access. It's not just online movies. I have direct access to kind of what's out there. So I think that's just how it began to grow, and still to this day. I mean, even just look at technology now. It's just insane. It's insane the things that we've been able to figure out. Just as a civilization, it's insane.
Wait, so you mentioned movies. I'm a big sci-fi guy. what do you watch? Like, what do you watch about astrology or astrology? What do you watch about like the outer space? Like, what is that? What is that for you? Because I got so many recommendations for you.
I was gonna say, so one of my favorite authors, scientists, astrophysicists is Neil deGrasse Tyson. So growing up watching him, I mean, any of his documentaries, his books, I'm picking up. I just felt as though he had a great way of being able to explain things in depth, but on a very toned down version.
Am I frozen?
No.
Oh, sorry.
No,
JT, I think
fine.
we froze for a second.
No, you're fine.
You're good.
Okay.
I just thought that Neil deGrasse Tyson found a way to explain complicated things very in depth, but he could do it to anyone in terms where you could understand it. And I thought that was pretty cool because a lot of people, science is, high level academics, high level thinking, and people, tend to shy away from that. But he found a way to really bring it to people's attention. And I just think that he's probably one of my favorite scientists. If I'm watching something and I want it to be science related, I'm obviously seeing if something that Neil is in first. That's first and foremost.
So, I mean, this is a weird transition.
Hold on, Matt Burns, I got a question.
Go ahead.
Oh, I got a question. So, JT, there's a really crazy series coming out on Netflix called The Three Body Problem. And it's about aliens, and it's nuts. The books are amazing. It's a Chinese author. It's awesome. So it's completely fiction, but it's kind of creepy. And to say like we don't know really anything about like outer space or just whatever, it's kind of the same thing. But okay, neither here nor there. Matt Perkins, I'll give it back to you.
No, that's Brittany. Brittany, I know you like as well as I know like anyone in my life. I had no idea you had that in you.
I read so many books that are all fiction, and The Expanse. Like I'm obsessed with this stuff. I'm reading the Reacher series right now, Jack Reacher. Dude, I probably read like 30, 40 books a year, but nothing of substance. Like I'm not learning anything. I just read.
He's hilarious. He said nothing of substance. Listen, reading stimulates the mind. No, reading stimulates the mind.
I mean, you're a big reader. Like you said, like you read Neil deGrasse Tyson. You've been someone I've admired for a long time because of like what I said, the intellectual curiosity. And it always seems like you have been sort of trying to reach, not I want to say like new limits, but sort of change what a lot of people see athletes as. Is just like, muscled up bodies on the field, right? And it's there's so much more there to everyone else. How do you sort of balance the stresses of what's needed to be an elite athlete with still trying to learn a lot of new things in a lot of new spaces or a lot of different spaces than most athletes, are operating in?
Well, one, I think you definitely need to have a disconnect day. And when I say a disconnect day is, it already takes up a huge chunk of your time. And I will say, I actually just saw something earlier today. It was LeBron James saying, in order to be great, you'll have to sacrifice loved ones. And as crazy as it sounds, it's like, maybe you need to head over to get a massage and then get some body wear. Maybe you need cupping or needling. That's taking time away from maybe you and your wife, your girlfriend, whoever it is, your mom, your dad. You guys went out and grabbed a bite to eat. So it does take up a lot of portion of your time. But I will say, finding a disconnect day where I know what my profession is, I know what my goals are, but today is a day for me to almost take care of yourself. You have to feed and stimulate your mind on things that you love. Yes, you may love football, but what are some other things? You can't just overstimulate your mind 24 hours a day on one thing. That's just the quickest way to burn out. But all you need is a day, just a day to take care of yourself. Whether it's you want to go out and you want to have a picnic, with, like I said, your mom, your dad, or another day, hey, I want to go to this new art museum because I know I love art. I want to go to an art museum. Things like that. You need to find a way to keep yourself personally happy, because if you just let your career consume you, and like I said, it's the quickest way to burn out make wrong decisions. I mean, if you work hard, you have to recover hard as well. And I feel like taking a U day is a huge part of recovery, mentally and physically.
Are there any special things you do physically, either at Wisconsin or now, that might be different? The ice baths, deep tissue massage. Like you take some big hits. You also shake a lot of dudes. How do you get your body healthy each week?
For me, it's a combination. You kind of have to. It's almost like training your body. You talk about shocking the body. If you do the same workouts over and over again, your body will adapt and get used to it. You need to have variation in your workout. So I feel like for recovery, it's the same thing. If a guy, of course, cold water is one of the best things that you can do for your body. So, of course, your body is going to adapt. If you're getting in the same cold tub, ice bath at the same temperature every day, your body will learn to adapt. So being able to incorporate a lot of different recovery methods. So maybe 1 week it's an ice bath 2 times a week, along with Pilates and red light. Or you go into a different week and it's, maybe for my cold therapy, I'll get into the cryo station, the cryo chamber, where they're putting the sub-zero cooling temperatures on your body. And I'll go with, a multivitamin IV with, a hot yoga. So you have to incorporate it with your training to figure out what you need for that week. But I would say that's the thing that I do. I kind of like to vary up my recovery process each week, just to try to keep something new in the body. And I just feel like if you can regulate your blood flow and just make sure your body is optimized, it's optimized to work at its max capacity. I think that's how I try to incorporate kind of my recovery process. And it's tough because some days, some weeks, you may just have a workout and you're like, I can't get I don't know what it is. I can't get it out. And you may need dry needling, or you just may need to have your masseuse just, hey, listen, let's just spend extra time here. But it's just about trying to keep that routine fresh every single week.
Attention athletes. Do you want a frictionless and tailored financial planning experience to secure your future? Well, look no further. Introducing Oak Bridge Wealth Management, the premier financial planning firm for professional athletes. Led by wealth manager Chris Anicetti, our team provides a unique and comprehensive approach, ensuring your financial success both on and off the field. We understand the unique challenges you face as a professional athlete, from managing cash flow habits to planning major business purchases and navigating complex contracts. That's why we've developed a proven process, working closely with our strategic partners to provide seamless solutions for your unique financial journey. Our services evolve with your career, offering short, mid, and long-term goal setting, portfolio optimization, real estate investments, and more. As you transition to life beyond the field, we support you with career development and philanthropic ventures. But don't just take our word for it. Top NFL players like Chase Boulier, Tyler Biadasz, Alec Ingold, and more trust Oak Bridge Wealth Management to guide them towards financial success. Troy Dye of the Minnesota Vikings says, I really love the work that Chris and the rest of the Oak Bridge group do. I especially like the honesty and transparency when it comes to setting up financial goals and plans that best fit my needs and situation. It's time to elevate your financial game plan. Connect with Chris on Instagram at oakbridgewm_Anicetti. That's oakbridgewm_ANICETE. And join the winning team. Let's head back to Madison for a little bit because we are on Believe in Badgers, not in Believe in Whole Body and Wellness. But we could talk about that a little bit more at some time.
Pretty genius, though, Jonathan Taylor, to mix it up. I love that idea.
You have to.
I mean, Bernie, I mean, you're the Orange Theory king here. So, I don't know how much you're mixing it up, what kind of workouts you're mixing up these days. But.
It changes every day. So that is a good thing. It's up, down, left, and right. That's what I love about it. The problem is I'm 41 and my recovery is pretty much the same thing every day. It's chasing a 3-year-old around. So there is no recovery at this point. But wait, Matt Perkins, I think I know your question because we're getting
Go
back to the Badgers. John, you show up. You're from the East Coast. I probably live half an hour, 45 minutes away from you in Westchester, New York. You show up on campus. There's not that many East Coast people. Well, East Coast people, not that many East Coasters on the team. There are, though, some. What's it like day one when you show up?
Day one. So day one, it was actually pretty cool because I already had met Madison Cone, who was my roommate when I was at the University of Wisconsin. So I met him on my official visit. And I knew that we were going to be rooming together once I got there. He enrolled early. So he was able to set up that, hey, when Jonathan gets in, he's able to room with me. So that was actually pretty cool. Day one, I get in there. We're all inside of Regent. That was the apartment that year for freshmen. We were all in Regent's apartment, right by the stadium, right by Camp Randall. And I think we were all wondering, okay, when are we getting our first scholarship check? Because we need to get a moped. Everyone has a moped. Like, that's just you have a moped. That's the quickest way you can get around quickly. You can park it anywhere. You need a parking pass, but sometimes you find spots that they might have, forgot about. But we just had a plan the first day so that day two, we all went to the moped shop so that we could grab mopeds. And it was like a scene from a movie. We were all riding off in our mopeds right next to each
other. So funny enough, I did that with Owen Daniels. My dad took Owen Daniels and I. He was my roommate in the Towers. That's where freshmen were our year. We were Regent second year. Right to go get a scooter, right to practice, basically. I mean, that you had like 10 minutes to go get that scooter. But if you don't have a scooter, I remember you used to pass dudes, even guys on the team, and I felt bad because you just couldn't stop. But like in the winter, they'd be walking at like 5:40 in the morning, freezing cold to get to a lift. I just remember being like, was that Phil Fuller? Did I just pass another running back? I'm like, oh no. But at 5:30 with the goggles on and it's freezing, I'm like, I don't know if I can stop. I'm so cold.
I'm trying to tell you that you needed a moped. And it was cool too. Like, coming from the East Coast, we don't have mopeds. So I'm like, oh, I kind of got my own car. I got my own car. Like, it was the coolest thing. That was the coolest thing ever.
So you're there. So you show up. Camp's about to start, I would assume.
Yes.
It's like putting the helmet on. Like, your day one at Wisconsin, I'm sure, is very different than day one in high school. You're a very sharp guy. But what's that? Like, you're meeting the coaches, you're meeting everyone pretty much for the first time in a football setting. It's way different than getting recruited.
It's way different than getting recruited. I would say, though, the first day, usually you grow up in the city, and from little league all the way up to high school, you kind of play with, your boys, the guys that you grew up with, that you know. And this was the first time, like, I'm putting on a totally different uniform and a totally different, all I'm just thinking about is I'm in a totally different state. Like, all I've been doing is playing football with the people that I know. Really, my cousin, I really have always been on his team every single year. So I'm like, I'm in a totally different state, playing for a totally different team with totally different people. Like, this is kind of insane. Like, it was hard for me to grasp it at first. That, like, because all you've known is, like, I usually know everybody on the team because we all grew up together. Like, I know everybody. Mind you, we have awesome people in the locker room. Like, that's the one thing about being a Badger is, if you're in that locker room, you're a good dude. Like, you're a really good dude, which I commend Coach Chris and the rest of the staff for, just being able to find people who are talented on the field, but even better off of the field. So, like, I'm hanging out with guys like Chris Orr, Emmett Perry, AJ Taylor, Kendrick Pryor, Denny Davis, David Edwards, Ty Biotish. Like, the whole entire team is just so chill. Like, it seemed like I was back home again, almost. That's when it kind of felt weird. like towards the end of the day of that first day, it just felt like I was back home. But in between, like I said, I'm putting on a helmet with like a new team, new teammates, new logo. I'm meeting the coaches, and now they're teaching me. Now it's not how you doing, how's your season been going? It's okay, like, are you ready? I need you. Like, this is our first concept we're putting in. Like, you got to be ready to run this. And I'm like, oh, okay, so this is Division I football. This is okay. Like, and I had to. It was like the first week that went by until I kind of got into not even a routine, but just an understanding of, okay, this is the process. This is how it goes. But that first day, you're just like making sure you're getting to the right spots too. Like classes, they're like, it's at the humanities building. Okay, well, where's the humanities building? They're like, oh, well, it's down on university. You're like, well, okay, where's university at? Like, where? You're trying to learn everything, and it was just crazy.
Typical freshman stuff. I mean, it's you're a freshman and you're also like the new kid at a job at a factory that has 100 guys who've been working together for a while now.
Yeah, that's actually a great example of it. Like, you're trying to just get meshed into the system, and that system's been going for a while. So you're trying to learn as you go. You're looking to the left, looking to the right, and just learning as you go, but also trying to put your best foot forward, but just learning as you go.
Well, it didn't take you long to learn, because by the time your second game came around, you were, putting up over 200 yards on the ground in your second game. Now, there have been fabled stories about a closed door scrimmage that you had right before the year started where everyone said, okay, this guy is like the truth. What went down on that day to make, to create this lore that's sort of been around you? And then when did you realize, like, yeah, I can not just compete, but I can beat these guys on a rep to rep basis?
Yeah. So of course, during camp, you're not really tackling every single day. So there's a thing, tag off. You run past the guy, you tap him on the side, just give him some contact. And we have this scrimmage, and Coach John Settle, who was our running back coach at the time, he used to hate, defenders. They're coming up, they're tagging off, they're getting hype. I made the play right here. He tackled for loss. So he's like, today we'll see if all of those tag offs were actually tackles. Like, he hated tag off. He hated when the defense did that. So we have the scrimmage, and there's a mix, so sometimes it's the first team defense versus the second team offense, or first team offense versus second team defense. So, getting the younger guys some work, but also, the starters on the other side of the ball, having them, run their plays and gel and mesh. So I'm in and out a little bit, but then finally I'm going with the first team offense. So it's first team offense going against second team defense. I got the ball. I kind of, I got like 5 yards, 4 yards. Series was done. Next time, first team defense is out there, and they want me in on second team offense. So they're like, okay, like, we want to see how you move or how you play with the guys you're going to be playing in the game with. So, against in the game. Like, I'm going against second team defense. So, like, okay, that's not our starters. Let's just see. He had a couple good runs. So that first run, I think I break like 2 tackles, and it was like a 60-yard run. It was like a 60-yard run. My first play with the first team, going against the first team defense. And I'm thinking, is it tackle? Is it not? Because, mind you, it's the first team defense. So when the first team offense is out there, second team defense, they'll take care of them. Like, you're not going to just go and run into a starter. So in my mind, I'm like, were they trying to tackle me? Were they not? And defense is just looking around like, was this tackle? I don't know. I guess defense was confused too a little bit. Second series rolls around, same thing. This time I get a screen pass, and it was a little further out and just a little bit out of my reach. So I had to just put one hand out instead of, always go for 2. One hand grabbed the screen, went for like 60 again. That was my first play the second time around. So they're like, okay, this is 2 plays, 60 yards each for a touchdown. One carry, 1 touch for a 60-yard touchdown. And I just remember thinking, man, I caught that ball with one hand. I know Coach Set is going to yell at me. Freshman. I know Coach Set is going to yell at me because anytime you reach out for the ball with one hand, hey, go for two. Why? You're not who did he say? Dion. He's like, you're not Dion. Go two hands out. And then I come to the sideline. He's like, you're going to be all right. He's going to be all right. But all I was, man, why did I catch that with one hand? But that shows you how focused on learning and absorbing information that I was, like how focused I was on that, because you want to do everything right. You want to put your best foot forward. And the first thing I'm thinking about is, a mistake. Hey, I caught the ball with one hand instead of two. But that was just something that drove me every single day is, just making sure I'm learning every time. I'm learning something new every day. I'm trying to, improve on something new that I just learned. Maybe Coach Set just taught us a new technique, and I'm trying to incorporate that the next day at practice. Like just every single day, you got to lock in every day.
Well, those linebackers that you were juking out also weren't any scrubs. 7 future NFL linebackers on that team, including all 4 starters that year. So that is, that's no small feat in general. But so you step in first couple games, you're at home, you're at Camp Randall. What's it like for you to step on to Camp Randall for the first time and then really break out during your second game?
Well, before then, my largest crowd was 1,000 people at our Thanksgiving Day game in high school. So, and I never really thought about this anyway until I actually got there, but I didn't really think about that change. Like, I just was thinking about the academics, the actual football, the competition. I really didn't think about the crowd change. So, first game out there, it's 80 plus thousand people. And mind you, before the game, we're warming up, and it's nowhere near as packed as when you run out of the tunnel. So I'm like, okay, everyone, okay, people are coming in here. Nice. It's going to be a good game. And when it's time to run out the tunnel and it's jam-packed, I'm like, oh, that's when I was like so excited because I'm like, I did not know it was going to be like this. Like, it's different coming on your visit and being in the stands. But running out of the tunnel and you just seeing that change, that energy shift, you're like, this is electric. Like, this is something different. That was one of the best feelings ever. First game, running out. But I will say my very, very first play, it was a little flat pass. And I dropped it. I think I was shook from just, like I said, the crowd change. I'm like, oh, like it's just, like I said, it's just different running out of the tunnel and knowing they're all there watching. They're like, hey, we want to see what the Badgers do today. I want to see what my favorite player, Danny Davis or Jonathan Taylor, does. So I'm like, okay. After that first play, I said, hold on, I have to lock in. There's people watching at home. Now we're on TV. We went from that to now I'm on TV. Everyone back home is like, oh my gosh, JT just dropped that, or JT. So I started thinking about everything like, okay, I just need to be at my best. I need to be at my best and do what I've done all week at practice. But that first game was electric. That was electric.
Your experience is exactly the same as mine, just like 10, 15 years earlier. Because it's so funny that listen, I've gone to Jets games and Giant games at the Meadowlands, and you sit there and you're like, man, I'm with a lot of people. But until you're standing on the field and people are like literally all eyes on you, it's very much scary. Now I redshirted. So the whole time I ran out there, I had no responsibility besides wave a towel and make sure like I got JT water when he needed it or whatever Gatorade you like the most. I'd be like, let me go get that for you. But dude, running out of that tunnel and seeing all those people is one of the coolest things I think you could ever do in life. And you get to do that as like a profession, which is so cool. Is there a big jump when you go from college to the NFL, running out of stadiums in different places?
Yeah, I will say it's pretty cool too, because there are special, like certain times, starting defense gets called out or starting offense comes out. So that was like, it's just like, it's crazy how that was just another step above. like running out of the tunnel in Camp Randall. You guys run out, it's a college team. You guys run out together. Like, we're doing this together. And then that first time when Matt Conti, our PR guy, when he comes up to me in the locker room, he's like, "Hey, JT, we're doing introductions today." He was like, you're going to go. Did I go last? No. I went right before Phillip Rivers. I think I went right before Phillip Rivers. He was like, "Hey, so you're going to be right before Phillip." So I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe we're just lining up. Like, okay, I'm right in front of Phillip Rivers. Okay, I know where I'm at. And I didn't realize I forgot, it was the single introductions. That right there, that was insane because now I'm like, oh, I'm getting called out in the starting lineup for an NFL team. I can't even compare it to Camp Randall because it's a different feeling, but it was just, that was one of my first welcome to the NFL moments that it was like, man, I'm really here. I'm getting my own introduction. That was out of me, that right there.
To stand in front of a legend too, it must have been just outrageous.
Yeah.
And so many people had your jersey, I'm sure, at Wisconsin and in Indianapolis. Must be so surreal. But I want to keep it with the Badgers because I'm obsessed with them. So you're literally came on. Listen, when you had that practice, I don't think there was a Badger in the land who wasn't texting each other like, "Yo, did you hear that this happened?" I got 50 text messages. "Yo, this kid Jonathan Taylor from Jersey, dude, he's sick. He's gonna be awesome. You see, he had this run," and I'm sitting there going, "Man, I'm so excited." Like anytime running backs have any type of success, I get excited. But you started off hot, right? Does it click sometimes when you're like in the game? You're like, "Man, I'm at 100 yards," or I'm unstoppable today. Like, what's that mentality in Jonathan Taylor's head?
And I really didn't have that until my junior year. Really, I was so worried about making sure I was coachable. Like, okay, when we run outside zone, coach said, on the third step, I need to make a decision. Make sure I'm reading the end man on the line of scrimmage. Like, I really tried to just do everything that I was taught. And I do feel as though as years went on, from my first freshman year, sophomore year to junior year, I started to run a little bit more natural. Like, kind of how you mentioned, Matt, in high school, I was learning how to play, and then it clicked like, okay, this is how you play the running back position. And then moving forward into college, it's, okay, I know how to play the running back position, but now how do I play it at a high Division I level? So then I was able to get better every single year as far as being a natural runner. But I was just trying to do everything right, every single concept. Okay, if we're running a gap scheme, make sure I stay in the A gap down the hash, read it A, B to C. And I just did that every game. But I always knew once I hit open field, I'm like, just run. So everything up until then was calculated. Like, okay, every single thing that Coach said, this is what I'm supposed to do. This is how I'm supposed to run this play, this concept. And once I got to the second level, then it was like my mindset was always just go, because that's always what I've done since I started. Like I said, all they did was hand me jet sweeps and power sweeps when I was little. And then don't forget, just 2 or 3 years ago, I really just started to learn how to play the running back position. So I'm still in the mindset of when I'm in open field, just go, just run, just go.
So I love hearing that. First off, Coach Settle was one of the best. I didn't have him, but he was one of the best. Every time I saw him, it was like love.
Yep.
What did he do for you? You bringing him up a lot. You're talking about these different schemes. It's a lot of, that's not easy coaching. So what did he do for you personally? Changed your game. I just love the man, and I think he's coached some of the best running backs for the Badgers, and he's created good people who played in the NFL for a long time. So I just want to hear your thoughts on Coach.
Man, Coach Settle is the best. And one thing he mentioned when we first started the first day, he said, we're going to build you from the ground up, from the feet up. He says, he believes that's where a running back is built, from the feet up. So we're doing, footwork drills, not even like cutting drills. He's like, no, I'm going to get everyone's footwork down, and the whole entire group, running back group. I want to get your footwork down. And he believed that's where a great running back was built. but he would also attend to us off of the field as well and build up young men. Once a week, it could be any day. It could be a Wednesday. It could be a Friday. In the middle of the meeting, he's like, all right. He's like, who hasn't called their parents yet? Like, have you called your mom yet? Like he's making sure he's like, okay, as these young men go off to school and as they grow, he took it upon himself to say, hey, I'm not only coaching these guys on the field, but I want to take a step further and coach them off the field to make them better men, better people. So he's making sure, hey, are you guys calling your parents? Are you calling your mom? Have you called your mom today? Like any other coach, they're just worried about, hey, did you turn in your assignment? Are you going to be ready to go? Make sure you're eligible this week. Like, things that these other schools may do, but Coach Set just took it a step further. So not only just teaching us how to up our game on the field, off the field, he really emphasized leaving a place better than you found it. And I think that's just why, like, if Coach Set can call me anytime, he has my number. I mean, we still talk to this day. Like Coach Settle, he's a great coach, but even better person. Like you mentioned, Matt, I love every time you see him, no matter who it is, he's just a good heart. He's a great heart.
Well, I mean, so we don't have a ton of time left here, but we've got a million questions, of course. But so I will talk a little bit because you led the Big Ten in rushing 3 consecutive years. Everyone knows all the stats. What season are you the most proud of?
Really, I will say, and it's funny, my first year, 2017, was so much fun. This is like, for a small town kid from a small school going to a big school. Like, usually people would tend to shy away from that. Oh, you may get lost. If that's a big school, you're just a number. But to have the opportunity to make that change, to contribute to the team, and for us to set a school record that year, I think we had 13 wins. That was an awesome year just to be around. Like and I think it got me accustomed to winning as well. Because it just got me accustomed to, this is how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to work hard and you're supposed to reap the benefits. Like everyone's supposed to do, this is what college football is. So I will say my first year was awesome. My junior year was definitely very fun. 2018, it was filled with heartbreak. It was filled with a lot of heartbreak in 2018.
There's some tough losses that season, man. There are some tough ones in there.
That was a tough one. I would say it had to be out of my freshman and junior year. I was just in my freshman year, just because everything was just so new, so fresh. It was like, what are the chances that like I said, a small town kid from a small school goes to this big school, Wisconsin. He's able to contribute to a team that's top ranked. Like it was everything you wanted, jam packed in the 1 year. I wish we would have finished. But that was a great year.
JT, what's it like after your junior year? That must have been a really hard thought process to say, hey, is it the NFL or am I coming back for another year? What was going through your head at that time?
Number one, it was just how close. First off, just how close we've been to the playoffs. Not even that, how close we've been to, hoisting up, the Big Ten title trophy. So those were the first two. Like, I know we can't. Like, we've been there. We just have to get over that hump. And then, of course, the teammates. I'm like, man, like I've only been here 3 years. And you like in high school, you're in high school for 4 years. So you don't have an option. You only have a choice for the most part. So I'm like, do I willingly want to leave this? Like, I love being here. And then after those first initial thoughts went, then it was, what is the actual decision that needs to be made? Then it's, okay, where are you at? What does the NFL look for? What things do they find as a negative? And, you start thinking, okay, how many carries do I have? Is that going to affect me? What have I accomplished on the field? Is there still more that I need to prove to the NFL? Is there still things that I want to prove to myself or that I want to accomplish? So that was, like I said, that was a tough time because I easily would have came back. But then also easily you're like, you have a chance to almost steal a year in a sense in the league. We know the NFL stands for not for long. So, if you're able to just get in while you're a little bit younger, that if you're truly ready or you think you can develop, quickly, then that could be a huge advantage for you. And I think it just came down to I accomplished a lot. Like I said, it was just I knew we could have been a championship team, a Big Ten championship, a national title. But I just thought, is there anything left that I have to give? And I thought I could have came back again, and I would have did everything done the past 3 years. Just do everything I can to put our team in the best position to win. But when I just looked at the risks, the benefits, I'm just like, speaking to Coach Chris, Coach Settle, everyone knew physically and talent-wise, and also mentally, they're like, we think you're ready and you'll get coached up. So whatever coaching you'll get, you'll be able to adapt. You'll be able to learn. And I thought that was the best move for my future. And it was tough though, because now you kind of have an option it wasn't choosing to go somewhere like to school. It was choosing like, yeah, I want to take this next opportunity, but I'm leaving something that's amazing, awesome, like the best.
Well, and you were sort of just right before the NIL era. And like we all know, man, like that would have been a factor too, because if you had those stats right now coming back into the 2024 season, like your NIL money might be darn near the equivalent of the rookie salary scale. But you talk about also sort of getting an extra year, right? Because not for long has been especially adage around running backs lately. You had you got your extension last fall. Congratulations. After
Congrats.
Obviously well deserved. We all thought you should get a lot more because we are highly pro running back here. But what, with the way that, let's face it, NFL running backs are being paid. What would your advice be to a young running back coming into the league who has, your pedigree, or is, one of these guys who is coming in at a time where it seems like a lot of teams don't have a huge value on the position, even when it produces thousands and thousands of yards and dozens of touchdowns?
Number one, I would say make sure that you just focus on becoming the best player that you can be. One, being a difference maker on the field is always going to put yourself in the best position possible. So the more you can do, the more you can affect and add value to a team, the better position that you'll be in. And I will say also go in with the mindset of make sure you love the game. Because I will say this, after going through now the whole complete process, there can be times when people may forget why they played the game, and not to say, not get what your value is, but don't just solely focus on pushing the maximum value, because those are the times how sometimes deals fall through. There's a saying, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. So, you always want to be fair. And you always want that's all everyone wants. Everyone wants to be treated equally. Everyone wants to have their fair share. So just being able to, one, you got to be honest, you got to be real with yourself. What is your value? But if that is your value and that truly is what your value is, then you need to make sure that you hold yourself to that standard. But like I said, going through that process, that it can be easy to just try and push certain things, inflate certain things when, all you want is to be treated fairly as well. And that's tough in the world of business because, greed is it's one of the 7 deadly sins. Just know it's one of the, and so it's tough, but you have to find a balance. But I will say focus on becoming the best player that you can be, because at the end of the day, when teams turn tapes on, whether it's a college team, high school team, NFL team, they're going to know who the best players on the field are by your work ethic and how you affect the game. And I noticed that. I noticed that by being in the locker room now with the guys I'm in right now. I mean, we have guys in this locker room. We talk about like DeForest Buckner, previously, Shaquille Leonard, like people who just affect the game. Those are the people you want on your team.
Well, I think one guy that's going to affect the game a lot this year is Anthony Richardson. Everyone obviously is excited about him. How are you feeling about sharing a backfield with a younger quarterback, a guy who hasn't had a ton of game reps, but obviously has a physical game and from all accounts is an extraordinarily intelligent person and really gets that side of football. What are you excited about for the offense and playing and sharing a backfield with him this year?
I'm excited. I'm excited because it's kind of a chance. I've always played with someone who has been at the helm before. Just even through Alex Hornibrook, Jack Combe, we came in together, but just it's never really been a younger guy, and now I'm the older guy, and I get a chance to help make his job easier. So I'm excited because I want to know what can I do. Hey, what can I do to help you adjust, to help you grow, like to make your job easier. And that's something that I've always asked the veterans. And I used to ask the veterans like Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan. I used to ask them so that I could get accustomed to, hey, this is a great quarterback. And if he's saying this is what he looks for in a running back, then who am I to not take heed to that? They are in that position for a reason, and they've seen running backs come and go. So I know that, hey, Phillip Rivers said he loves when a running back does this. So I'm going to subconsciously try to make sure I do these things. So I'm excited to see how my curiosity and my willing to grow will help Anthony in any which way. I don't know how, but I just know that, hey, great quarterbacks have told me this is what great running backs do. So I'm going to do everything I can to help make his job easier. And I know he's excited. I know he's super excited, and we can't wait to go out there. We can't wait to go out there and ball with him. I just know that he's going to be ready. He's always learning. He's always studying. So I'm excited to see, him progress. I'm excited.
Do you got a future in motivational speaking or coaching? Just off of what you're saying, I'm ready to run through a brick wall for you. You need a fullback for one play. That's all I got left, I think.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, I don't know what's going to happen in the next few years, but we need to do something with the fullback position or just create some type of Hall of Fame. Because I'm telling you right now, all those years at Wisconsin that you guys saw were definitely led not only by a great line, but for Austin Ramish, Alec Ingold, Mason Stockey. Man, listen, I've never been around like a team, like one year after another. Like Austin Ramish was incredible. You talking about a guy who could just run through your face, play after play after play. And then the next year we have Alec Ingold, and I knew he was an athlete, but I'm like, dang, I know that Austin Ramish brought that power. Oh my gosh, first day, Alec Ingold pile driving somebody in the ground. I'm like, what? Like, the fullbacks do a lot of the dirty. It's like another layer of protection. You got the O-line doing the dirty work, but it's just something about a running back, fullback. I love every fullback I've ever played with. I mean, they just do so much of the heavy lifting.
Well, I appreciate you saying those things. Wait, so JT, I know we got to get you out of here. Can you tell me one thing? Like, what was one of your favorite memories of Wisconsin?
One of my favorite memories of Wisconsin. So aside from the first game running out, aside from that, my favorite time, because we had some game, like of course, 20, I think that was 2018 triple overtime with Purdue. That was a heck of a game. That was a fun time. But I don't know if that was. I just thought that Orange Bowl in 2017. I just thought that for me it was refreshing to see the older guys go out with like a huge win. I just remember us sitting on top of the platform, oranges everywhere, confetti everywhere, and it was like that was like the first time I had confetti fall on me, and that was like a great experience. That's why I just think 2017 was probably like just a whirlwind of a year, one of my favorite years. Just like that Orange Bowl. I look back at the pictures now. I mean, like we were sitting there biting oranges with the peel on, like just having fun, like having a great time. I would definitely have to say that Orange Bowl win versus Miami. Like we were both two top ranked teams going in, and that was so fun. Like Alex Hornibrook, Danny Davis had like 3 touchdowns. That was just awesome. Like, and I'm playing the U, mind you. You know, growing up, I'm playing the U. So that was a great experience. That Orange Bowl game was a great experience.
Turnover changed my ass.
Yeah, that was like that whole week. That was one of the best times ever. I love Coach Chris, man. I love Coach Chris.
All right. Well, I got to get you out of here on one more. I got to get you. I got to get top 5 Badger running backs. Every running back we've had on has given us a top 5. So it's your turn, JT. Top 5 Wisconsin Badger running backs. I'm not going to make you do it in order unless you want to.
Top 5 backs, of course. You got it. Not even you got to pay respects, but anytime you hoist the Heisman Trophy, you got Ron Dane. Like any that just sets you to. That's the separator. Now, if there was someone else who did, then you're like, that sets you apart right there. Of course, Ron Dane. For me, I just know one thing, especially now that I try to do is I try to put points on the board. That's how you affect the game. If you could change the score, you affect the game. So Monte Ball just. If you have a back like that, he changes the game. He can put points on the board. Like he put points on the board.
88 touchdowns. 88.
That's insane.
It's a lot of touchdowns. That's a lot of touchdowns.
As far as
5.
over the top, like just you got to go Melvin. I mean, a 25 that type of season, just talent wise,
should have been the Heisman. Should have been the Heisman that year. I'm sorry, Marcus Mariota, but I'm not that sorry because that's the second best season of running backs ever had. Ever.
2,500? I don't know. We'll leave it how it is, but y'all know. That's 3. I'm trying to think. Who else did I watch? Because I know I like Brent Moss. See, Brent Moss was a track guy.
Michael Bennett was a track guy.
And I know.
I think Michael Bennett the only. Anthony Davis.
Jersey guy.
Corey Clement.
Corey Clement is the one who got me jump started. Corey Clement, mind you, he's 30 minutes from me. He's in Glassboro, New Jersey. So when I'm in 8th grade, he's in high school. He's terrorizing South Jersey. So that's the reason I even started to tune into Wisconsin. Mind you, I'm on the East Coast, so I'm not really watching. I'm watching, Rutgers. I'm watching all of the East
Penn
Coast
State, Maryland,
Boston College, yeah.
In Wisconsin, and I'm seeing Corey. Yeah. Corey Clement. I have to put Corey Clement because I just know that is, for me personally, that's someone who. He just got me started with Wisconsin, just seeing his success translate from high school to the collegiate level, Division I.
That's 5. And that's 5.
Is PJ Hill was a Jersey guy? Or was he a New York guy?
He's New York. He's like Yonkers or something like that.
New York, but he went to high school in Jersey?
Something like that.
No, he went to private school. He went to private school in New York. Got it. Yeah, because he was there when I was there.
Right. I got to finish with James White.
You got to finish. I was going to say James White, big play.
Part of that dominating. I can't believe they really had Monte Ball, James White, and Melvin Gordon really all in the same bag.
Not fair.
I don't know how that happened. I don't know how they lined that up. Barry Alvarez and them. I don't know how they lined that up. That was insane. And then you talk about like he translating it to the NFL, like James White. Shoot, he's a triple champ. Like that's, man, that has to be the top 5.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And shout out to James also for helping us produce this interview as well with Jonathan. Yeah, he's the best. Sweet Feet is simply the best. We are going to wrap it up here today. Jonathan, we cannot thank you enough for taking the time to hang out here on Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by betonline.ag and Oak Ridge Wealth Management. Thanks for tuning in all across the country, all across the world. And until next time, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.
Wow.